Okay, so Danielle wants to have a maximum of $140 cash at the ticket booth when her church carnival opens. She will have $1 bills and $5 bills. If X is the number of $1 bills and Y is the number of $5 bills, the inequality, this one, models the situation, graph the inequality. Okay, and so we're supposed to graph this inequality. So let me bring this over here. So X plus 5Y less than or equal to 140 right here. So I need to graph that. So how do we graph? Number one, get Y alone, huh? Get Y alone. So here's the wall of separation. And what are we going to do to get Y alone? Going to subtract X from both sides. Boom, boom. Like that, right? And the next step, we're going to divide by 5. Remember, now, whenever you divide, you have to divide all 3 of them, right? Equal treatment all the way across. Like that. Whenever we divide all 3. And now, do I need to flip the symbol? No, only when you divide by a negative. I divided by a positive regular 5. No need to flip the symbol. Only if you divide by a negative do you need to flip the symbol. No need to flip the symbol. Okay, so what do we have here now? Negative X over 5. And this, use your calculator, 140 divided by 5, I think it's 28. Okay, so there we go. So now get Y alone, got it. Now, what do we do from here? The next step is here. The next step now is we grab the number that's on the outside here. And this is our starting number. That's where we start the graph. Now, I wonder how well we're going to be able to find that spot on this graph. Let me see here. So if we do that, yeah, let me see. So we're going to be able to do that. So that would be, right. Yeah, I think we can do it. Yeah. So, okay. So, so there's our vertical Y intercept. So at 28. So that's going to be right about there. So you see 28 is going to be, you know, a little closer to 30. So when you do the graph, you got to just do it a little carefully. You know, you put your first, this is the Y axis here, and this is the X axis there. So like that. So the 28 is up there closer to 30. So start with that. That's your vertical Y intercept. That's your first point. That's how we always get our first point. That's our first point. That's the vertical Y intercept at up 28. Now, how do we get our second point? Well, the next one comes from the fraction in front of X. So this is, there's no number up top, which really means it's a 1. It's a negative 1, I should say. And that's rise over run. So remember, the fraction in front of X tells you your rise over run. So that means you go down 1, over 5. Now that's a little tricky to do because these are going by 20s, aren't they? Over 5, be like right there. I don't know how easy that is going to be to do on the actual graph. Yeah, I don't know. That's not going to be easy to do. So that's true, but I'm thinking let's do something a little different. That's a little bit hard to do. That's a little bit hard to do. So Yeah. This, just because of the nature of the graph they gave us here, I'm going to do a new game plan on this one. That normally that plan works great. That's how you find your second point, right? You rise and you run, you go down 1 over 5 and you get your second point. Normally that's great. But this one, they're just not giving us enough room to move. So instead, I'm going to go with the second plan. Let me put that back. That was good for the first. Well, sorry, I should say that wasn't good just because it didn't really get us the answer. Instead, let's do this. Instead, it got us half the answer. It's got this point. That's good. We need to find another point. So I'm going to make an XY table. I'm going to put 0 in for X, find Y, 0 in for Y, find X. Now this one's actually already done. Let me show you. When you put 0 in for X to the original, I'm just going to grab the original equation again. I'm going to grab the original, which is, and this is kind of in my way here. Do a better job here. There we go. Which is, okay, don't do that. X plus 5Y, and I'm going to make it equal 140. I hope I'm not confusing you. Why am I making, I think you might be saying, Mr. Aaron, it's less than or equal to, why are you making it equal? I know, because right now I'm trying to find points on the line. Remember, the line is the equals part, right? And then the greater than or the less than or whatever, that's the shading above or below the line. Remember, the shading above or below. In this case, it's less, it's going to be, below. And then the line is the equals part. I'm trying to find 2 points right on the line right now. So I want the equals version. Okay, so plug in 0 for X right here. And what do you get? You get 0 plus 5Y is 140. And 0 is nothing. That's just gone. Divide by the 5 in order to solve. And you get 28. We already had that one. That's what I mean. It's right there. Over 0 up 28. So we're just getting, again, the point we already had. Now we're ready to get the new one. Now for the second one, we're going to put in 0 for Y. So take the equation again right here. X plus 5Y is 140. And this time put in 0 for Y. So you see what I'm doing? I'm making what I call a double zero table. I put in 0 for X, I'm finding Y. Then I put in 0 for Y, and I'm finding X. What I'm going to find is the 2 intercept points. And that'll be easier for graphing because they just made this graph kind of difficult. So this is X plus 5 times 0 is 140. Well, that's just gone. That means X is 140. Boom, there it is. So it's right here, right? That's the point. Over 140 up 0, over 140 up 0. And this is the point here, over 0 up 28, over 0 up 28. So we got our 2 dots. So that's going to be an easier way to get your 2 dots on this graph. Does that make sense? So the normal way we do a graph didn't work well on this. Normally we get Y alone, and then we start with this point out here. That's our first point, and then we just look at the fraction next to X, and that's our rise and run. That normally works great. But it didn't work great on this one because you couldn't tell how to do the rise over run because they didn't make the points very nice. So instead, what I'm going to do is I took the equation and went back to the original equation. I made it equals because I'm just trying to find points on the line, not the shading, not the greater than, less than, above, or below the line. It's right on the line for the equals. Plugged in 0 for X right here, solve for Y, 28. Then I plugged in 0 for the other level, for Y, solve for X, 140. Now we can connect the 2 dots. So here we go. Boom. There's the line. Now, last thing is we have to do the shading. Which way is the shading going to go? Well, you know how to do the shading, right? It's telling you right here. Y is less than or equal, right? Right there. Y is less than. Where's the lesser stuff? You know, it's below the line. Right? So we're going to have a solid line because remember, there's 3 regions. The stuff right on the line is the stuff right on the line is Y equals is on the line. y greater is above the line greater the line, and y less is below the line. And they said, please shade, right here, they said, please shade y less or equal. So I shade the stuff less, the stuff below, and the equal, so I make the line solid, right? If they didn't have that equals bar, then I would make the line dotted, because you're saying it's invisible, it's not really there, we don't really want it as part of the answer. If they just said less. But they said less or equal. So I shade below and right on the line. Equal, less or equal, below and right on the line. Okay, now what about this last part where they want first, second, third solution? It says list 3 solutions where both x and y are integers, whole numbers. There's no decimals or fractions. So they want 3 answers. Now, well, how do I do? Do I need to put these points on the line? You could put those points on the line. But do you realize the answers are everything shaded and everything on the line, right? That's what they said. The answers are all the y's that are less than, which means below the line, shading, or equal, or right on the line. You can give them 3 points, any 3 points right on the line or below the line. They're all part of the answer. They're all solutions. So, okay. So I'm just gonna do something easy. Like how about right here? Here's a point that's clearly in the shaded zone. What is the coordinates of that point? Well, that point right there looks like it's over 20, up 5, right? Over 20, up 5. So I'll put in 25. How about this point right here? That's over 60. If you pick any points you want that are in the shading or on the line. How about this point right here? What is that point? That looks like it's over 20, up 20. Yeah, 20, 20, etc. You could pick, see all these millions of dots you could pick that are all in the shade or right on the line, like this dot or this dot. You could put in, the 140 or the 028. All those are solutions on the thing. Let me share my screen and show how it actually works on the problem. Here it is. You're seeing my screen. So I've got one down here. This is x plus 5y less than or equal to 160. So a little different than the one we did. If you solve for this one, you're going to get y less than or equal to a 1/5 x plus 32. It's going to be a 32. Watch me get the 30. First, I click on the solid line tool because we do have the less than or equal to. We want the equals. I'm going to go up to 32. Now, because here's 30, here's 35. Watch 32. 32 is going to be about right there. See, it's a little closer to 30 than 35. So there's 32. Now, the other point's going to be way over here at 160. Click. So I've made the line. Now, which side am I going to shade? Less than. Click. That makes sense? And then I pick any solutions, like I'm going to go like 25. And I could do over 40, up, whatever, 10. And over 80, well, how about over 60, up 15? Over 60, up 50. Those are all points in the shading region. You see them? Here's over 60, up 15 right here. Right? Here's over 40, up 10, right? That's the dot I put right there. That's 40, 10. Over 20, up 5, that's right here. So anyway, those will all work. You submit it. Yep, green check marks all the way around. So there we go. All right, let me go back to my iPad. And there we go. Questions I can answer on this one.